Hey folks, I'm at onX Maps at their satellite office here in Bozeman, and with me is Matt Seidel, the guy for onX Hunt. In the prior video, Matt, we talked about the new release.
Yep.
All the features of it.
Yep.
In this video, I want to get into more detail of how these first three layers we're going to talk about really become a tool for finding what I always talk about, sanctuaries. Mm-hmm. First one we have on our list of that we wanted to talk about was the roadless layers. And that was kind of you guys calling me and saying, Randy, if we could automate that thing that you do with your Microsoft Paint, do you think that'd be useful?
Yeah.
And my response was, if you could automate that, you would save me hundreds of hours, or at least dozens of hours every year. Yep. And I wouldn't have to take screenshots of maps and squiggle and everything else. So from using it, it's about as slick as it gets. For those of you who are like me, in all of my talks about elk hunting, I talk about sanctuaries.
Yep.
And that sanctuaries are the places hunters don't want to go or are not easy to get to. And that's always been very difficult to know on a map by looking at it. Well, where are the roads? Where are the places without roads?
Well, it's kind of like the exact same concept you did, where we applied a filter to all the roads. And so we applied the filter to roads and then also roads that are closed, because as you know, a lot of times people drive around that gate or don't obey those signs. And when you're elk hunting,
it's frustrating.
You hike out 2 miles and then somebody comes by on an ATV and you waste a day. And you're a little frustrated. So we also included those gated off roads as well.
Okay.
And so basically, it applies a filter, and then we made it pretty obvious. Like, we kind of blacked everything out that's a road. You can still see through a little bit the transparency, but it goes from a black scale to white, with purple being the gradient. So the lighter the purple, the further away from the roads it is. And so when you were doing yours, you kind of had a big area. It might be 5 square miles that was all roadless. Yeah. And so we kind of applied that filter to keep showing the furthest spot, so you can really get to that spot that is the furthest.
So
in that area.
The spot that is furthest is going to almost look white.
Yep, it's going to be the whiter.
And as you get closer to a road, it's going to go from the whitish color to more of a purple,
and then eventually
to black. Eventually to the black.
Yep.
So.
And so it's a pretty obvious layer. Like, it's meant to kind of block everything else out, right? And so what you'll want to do is find your hunting unit, find some of those white areas, drop some waypoints there, and then maybe turn that layer off, turn on the trails and ownership, and start playing around and scouting a little more.
Because those are the sanctuaries where, at least on public land, that is where bull elk want to go, especially after the rut, post-rut and late season. But even during the other seasons of early season, pre-rut and peak rut, all things being equal, they still will select and prefer areas further from roads. So the roadless layer, that's one I'm really excited about. The other thing I talk about when we discuss sanctuaries, I tell people that a sanctuary is something that is often a function of topography or distance from a motorized trail. So you came up with 2 other layers that really help with that. The trail slope layer and then the trail mileage layer. So when I tell people, it might just be a function of distance, because people don't
want to hike 5 miles and pack out an elk.
Right. Or it might only be a mile, but it's a steep, miserable hike. That will keep people away. So the trail slope layer, you guys have put all the trails in the system. And you've colored the trail based on how steep it is.
Correct. So we've broken out each trail into a 1/10 of a mile section. And so you'll see there's some sections here, and it starts at green to red color scale. So green is pretty flat, and yellow is going to be a little steeper. Orange is getting pretty steep, and red is going to be pretty steep.
Red is really steep. And then the trail mileage section is from each intersection of trails. It gives you the mileage to the 1/10 of a mile, is it?
Yep.
Okay. Many times I've looked at my GPS and thought,
how far
well,
is
that
that trail?
looks
Yeah.
like 2 miles. Well, by the time you get done doing all the switchbacks and zigzags, I'm
Yep.
3.25 miles.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so it counts all the switchbacks and everything, and so there's a red dot kind of at each intersection, and then, you know, we're looking at this trail here, and from this dot to this dot is, you know, 3.7 miles.
a lot of elk hunters, if they see something as like this one here you showed is 3 point whatever miles,
Yeah.
they don't want to hike that far.
that's
And
a
even
long
if
ways,
even
yeah.
if the trail is moderate, just the distance is enough to sort a lot of people out. If you're searching for sanctuaries for public land bull elk, the roadless layer, the trail slope layer, and the trail mileage layer are going to be your friends.
Yep.
So we've talked about the layers that have done sanctuaries
Okay.
or to find sanctuaries.
Sanctuaries, yep.
Now, in the next video, I want to talk about people see us hunting burns all the time and see us with our Forest Service maps all spread out.
Yep.
You've made my life a whole lot
Yep.
easier with that
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, we've got some cool layers there we can talk about.
Stay tuned, folks. You're going to want to see the rest of this.